Saturday morning, the Experts program kicks off, and that means that Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, on the line with us here. Luis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So what's on tap this weekend? You get out there on the windy bay?
Not today. I mean, it's a little bit too much wind for my liking out there. But tomorrow we kick off our sailing season with something called the tune-up race. So if people like watching boats sail and race against each other, there'll be a whole bunch of us out on the water on Sunday, which promises to be a nice day with pretty reasonable winds and not a lot of swell. So it should be a beautiful day for sailing.
We've been talking so much about mobile technologies the last few years. We really haven't spent a lot of time talking about the actual computers, whether they're desktops or laptop computers. But apparently there are some changes coming there as far as new technologies, and something called quantum computers are coming. So we're going to get ready for them to change everything. What exactly is a quantum computer?
Quantum computing is a different way of getting computers to calculate things, right? So we're used to like the ones and zeros that make up digital computers, but quantum computers basically compute in multi-dimensions. So in 4 dimensions, and they're able to, as opposed to a bit, right? We're used to bits and bytes. Well, with quantum computing, you have qubits. And what they do is they are able to take data and calculate things exponentially faster than a typical computer. So things like calculating what might be an algorithm to prevent something from happening, which might take a conventional computer, even a supercomputer that uses digital technology and typical central processing units, something that might take them a week to calculate would take a quantum computer less than a second.
Wow.
So it's by the magnitude of this is huge. And people have been working on trying to create a quantum computer, much like, if you think back to the early days of the current computer technology, when you had 64-bit computers and then 256, and, as they got more sophisticated and more capable, they were able to calculate things faster and do more things. In terms of quantum computing, we're probably in that 256K world where the CPUs, if you will, to use that analogy, are still relatively powerful, but not anywhere near as powerful as we expect them to be in 10 years. Right. But they're already being used to do a lot of analytics. We talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and with quantum computers, you can do that exponentially better than you can with digital computers. And they can accomplish things in such a fast rate that this will accelerate our ability to do things like figure out what it would take to create fusion reactors, for example, where now you have the computers that work these algorithms for months, if not years, trying to figure out how to make that happen. You can do those sorts of things so much more faster because the algorithms run so much faster. So it's going to fundamentally change computing, quite frankly.
Okay, so these quantum computers are not going to be used by you or I. This is for universities, for big research institutions, maybe some big businesses, government, right?
Initially, yeah. Just like, when computers first came out, you had those big IBM giant computers, or what are some of the other companies? I can't remember right off the top of my head, but you had these companies that would make these giant computers that would fill entire buildings. And that's what we're going to see with quantum computing. Initially, it's going to be very restrictive. It's going to be very expensive. So only these large institutions will have it. But eventually, and pretty quickly, I suspect it'll filter down to, a lot of the things that we do every day. And I don't know if it'll eliminate my PC that runs Outlook and Word, or, your Mac that runs whatever Macs run, but it will eventually become something that will really give us a huge leap into the future in terms of being able to accomplish so much more because they calculate things so much faster.
Sure. And I imagine that something like this could be used by the space program to build better rockets, better ships to go into outer space and tell us what's out there.
Yep. I mean, we'll be able to do things that we can't even imagine because these calculations will take place so much faster, and you can eliminate a lot of the variables so quickly because you can calculate things so much faster.
The world of Star Trek is getting closer and closer every day, Luis.
Every day, my friend. Hopefully you and I will live long enough to see it happen.
That would really be wild. I'm always reminded by, I think it was the Star Trek 4 movie, where they go back to Earth. They go back to Earth in a Klingon ship to try and save a couple whales. And Mr. Scott he's going to do some work on a computer. And he starts talking to the computer, and the guy looks at him like there's something wrong with him. So he hands him the mouse, and he talks into the mouse as if it's a microphone. But we may get to that day where we can talk to our computer. If we have a quantum computer, we can actually give voice commands to it and it'll do whatever we want it to do.
Yeah, much more intuitively than, trying to get Alexa to listen to you, and your syntax. And it says, oh, you asked for this? Let me give you that. No, that's not what I wanted.
Amazing. Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Groups, joins us every Saturday morning, a little bit after 10, as we talk about technology. And then again on Mondays, beginning at 8:30, 10:30, 4:30, and 5:30 p.m. Online, alvareztg.com, at alvareztg. That's the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.